Hi there, welcome to Sunnyside Journals. Just a little, you know what? It's a little what's on my desk. I thought I'd pop in and just do a quick, tiny little visit. I want to do a little reminder about tomorrow's draw. So in case somebody's just checking in now. And then I thought I'd show you how I played with the alcohol inks a couple days ago. A few people have asked about playing with alcohol inks, and so I thought I'd go over it. But first, let's do this. So, if you didn't see the previous video, I'm doing a little giveaway. It's a little I love you. As my husband likes to say when he gets me a little gift, he goes, I just have a little I love you for you. So I have a little I love you for you. And unfortunately, I can't send out 2,000 little I love yous. So I'm going to do a raffle, and I'm sending 10 out, one per person. So to any subscriber, so anywhere you are. So I hope that you will go and view my previous video. Don't comment down on this one, because I will be basing the randomness thing on the comments on the previous video. You know what? I'll put a link down here because I don't know how to do it on the screen. So I'll put a link to the previous video down here, and you can go back there, because you have to write in the comments, I'm a subscriber. And that will put you in the draw, and I have 10 Little Catherine altered playing cards. These little cuties. Catherine's out having adventures on playing cards. They're all similar but different. They all have a Canada stamp, because Canada has stamped itself on me. My ancestors have been here in Canada as far back as my possibly great grandfather fought in the War of 1812 for the British. Sorry, my American friends. But he fought for the British, and as part of his pension, his name was John Paxman, and as part of his pension, he was given some land up near Orillia, Ontario. And so he went back to England, got his wife and kids, got his brother and his sister-in-law and all of their kids, and brought them all back here to Ontario. So there we go. There's some of the little Catherines. So these will be, I will do the draw Monday morning, 9 a.m. Eastern time. So that's New York time for anyone who's not sure what time Eastern time is. So whenever it's 9 o'clock tomorrow morning in New York City, that's when I'm going to do it myself. I'll record it. But then it'll take me a while to upload it to YouTube. Do you know what I mean? So you might not know till maybe 10 a.m. or 10:30 a.m. New York time. So click the link down below for the previous video. Type in I'm a subscriber once, one comment, and then I'll be picking 10 people. So that's exciting. Let's get that out of the way. So now we can play with some alcohol inks for a few minutes. I'm just going to put down some paper towel. Now, I'm not an expert. I tried looking around on YouTube, and I found a few people that had a few little how-tos, but certainly nothing overly thorough. So what I've done here is purely by guess and by golly, and by playing with it. What I have is 3 different bottles of alcohol ink from Tim Holtz. I have latte, ginger, and caramel. And what I did was, let me get into this. This is my container of metal things that I like to use on journals. And my favorite keys are the brass keys. I just like that nice warm golden, not nice. Those are my favorites. I have some artificial ones. Well, not artificial. I mean, it's metal key, but you can tell that's made by a crafting company. It's not an actual key. So, and I love both. There's a brass one. There's a silver one. I'm going to have to separate those. And I have lots of silver keys, but I prefer brass keys, the brass colored keys. There's another little brass one. So you can see, let me move the inks. So here's my fake ones. And I think they look lovely and grungy. Hold on, let me stand up and hold these up closer. I think they look lovely and mucky and grungy, and I don't know whether they look brass or whether they look rusty. I'll take either one. I just didn't want them to look silver. And I haven't tried mixing colors together yet. And now I can't remember which ones are which. I think this is latte. I think that one is latte. And I think this one is caramel. And I believe this one is ginger, which is kind of nice, gives a nice rusty color, right? That one looks kind of rusty. Now I have some locks, some little locks. And the base part of the locks are gold, which is what I like. I get these in my metal bins at my Weigh and Pay store. But I do have some silver ones. And again, I like this color. Mostly, I think, because the really old ones usually weren't silver. They were usually, a brassy, bronzy color. So what I did in order to get myself some gold locks was I used the alcohol ink again. Come on, there we go. And I colored it. This one looked like that one. Not cool? I left this silver because these ones that are the real deal were, the bendy part was still silver. So that's kind of cool. And then what I did, just for practice, because again, sometimes I just veer away from silver. Maybe one day I'll change silver with working on junk journals. I like white gold. I have a lot of jewelry in white gold, so don't get me wrong there. And that is using alcohol ink on it, which is pretty cool. And there's the silver. In the back, they're both still silver, but there's no point. It's going to be attached to a journal. So I'm really happy with that. So I thought, you know what, let's play again a little bit. And I have lots of these tiny keys. I go through my bins at the Weigh and Pay. They literally have an entire aisle full of laundry baskets, and those plastic, no, you probably in the United States you probably don't have them. We get these plastic crates that will hold 9 liters of milk, because our milk comes in plastic bags, and it'll hold 3 packages of 3 liters of milk, and they stack. And anyhow, so they have a whole row on tables of laundry baskets and these milk crates, and they're literally full of little metal things. So on my days where I know I'm going to go through the baskets, I put gloves on my hands. I actually wear gardening gloves because sometimes there's sharp, pointy things. Like I have found awls in there. Sometimes there's sharp metal. Usually what I will do is I will find myself within the bins, there's even tools in that. So I'll find like a screwdriver or something, and I'll use it to help me dig through these baskets. Because of course, all these tiny little things fall to the bottom of the basket, and they're covered up in piles of doorknobs and hooks and the guts from a light fixture. And if it's metal, they throw it in these bins and you literally fish through them. But that's how I get cool things that I have put onto the covers of journals. I love using these as a book plate on a journal. It just makes a fun book plate. I haven't used this on a journal yet. I've got to figure out what it is I want to use. Or something like this. I got that out of the bin. It's just a latch, but wouldn't that look cool on a grungy journal? Things like that. Or this. This was in the metal baskets at my weigh and pay. It's just such a fun place. And when I have oodles of time, I love to just hunt through. Look, I found this number on there. Wouldn't that be great on the cover of a junk journal? Or this one. I'm not sure what number that is. I guess it's a 2. This one's cast iron. So here's a lot of my fun. Look at that. I think that's off a kitchen cabinet. So let's play just a little bit with the ink, and I'll show you what I was doing. Let me get some of these things out of the way. Put you away. Got tons of these tiny little keys, and I really should use them more often. And maybe now that I can grunge them up a bit, I'll be more tempted to use them because they just look so brand new. Look at them all here. They just look absolutely brand new. Let's see if there's any more. Oh, here's some more silver keys. I'm not going to do them all because my luck, I'll do them all, and then one day I'll be making a journal and I'll think, well, rats, I want a silver key, and I will have grunged them all up. Knowing me. But it gives you more options if you're like me and you're trying to stick to your refurbished, like that's so pretty. Well, I don't have any oval shaped ones in gold. So if I want to, I'm not going to do it now because I also like that color. I can cover it up. I can cover it up. All right. So, here's some loose ones. Let's do these and these. I'll get the rest of these out of the way. And maybe I'll be able to remember which one it is that I liked. Now, I'm going to see if I want to bring the camera down closer. I'm going to pause you and I'm going to bring it down. Okay, so this hopefully will be a little easier for you to watch. And hopefully we'll figure out what shades these are. Not that it matters, but it might matter to you. If you live in an area where you can buy these separately, maybe there's a color you prefer and don't want the rest. I got these all 3 in one package, so I had no choice, but I thought they sound like a shade that I'm looking for, and I would be happy with any of those for the color that I'm looking for. So what I learned quite quickly, there's a reason why they say alcohol ink really isn't good for porous surfaces like paper or fabric, because it immediately soaks in and evaporates very quickly. It's meant for, from what I've learned, again, please correct me if I'm wrong. I'm just doing all this on self-study and research. Non-porous surfaces, so metal, china that's not cracked or raised, plastic, jewelry, things like that. You can use alcohol ink on as long as it's a non-porous surface. So let's try this one. Now what I found was because of needs to be non-porous, at first I tried rubbing it around with a Q-tip. Well, my Q-tip soaked it right up and it didn't spread around anywhere because it soaked right up into the Q-tip and dried. So don't use a Q-tip. But I did learn that you can spread it around with metal. So I used the tip of this pin. And I also used The end, you can still see some of the ink on it. I used the end of these tweezers to help spread it around because it's metal, and that way it would stay wet longer because it's non-porous. But I also found that a teeny tiny little paintbrush worked very well. It didn't, the bristles didn't, the bristles held the liquid in it, but didn't suck it up the way the cotton on a cotton swab does. So they all seemed to work very well. And what I learned was these have child safe caps, which make it harder for me. It says a lot about me. Come on. Actually, they're just hard for people with arthritis. All right, so I find that you do not have to squeeze the bottle. You mostly just have to tip it upside down and touch the surface. Let's move this. Let me make sure I'm fairly centered. So I just found that you mostly have to just touch it to the surface. It seems like not very much. And then just spread it around like this. And a little, goes a really long way. You can also tip it and just let it just sort of flow around. But see how that one drop has done this entire top surface? Now, if you want more on there, I learned very quickly, now is not the time to do it. Because that's when you will get, if you're looking for a uniform, you'll get little blotches the way I got on that. See here, I added more. And it's almost as if it reactivates what's already been drying. So just have a little patience. That will dry very quickly. So because of that, I'm going to move on to the next one and start working on it. And by the time I get these two done, I can flip that over and play with the other side, or else I can add more to that one side. Now, I haven't tried blending them yet. So again, I don't know. There we go. One drop. I didn't squeeze the bottle at all. So see what I mean here? Let me pick this up and I'll show you. I was also just sort of dribbling it around to try and encourage it to just go all over like that. Now I know, oh, I'm holding this thing and I think I'm going to sneeze. I apologize ahead of time if I sneeze. I know you're probably thinking, Catherine, what about the sides? What about inside that hole? Yes, I'm going to get to that. Don't worry. That's one of the things that I did later. So just keep moving it while it's wet, because it is going to start trying to evaporate and dry because it's alcohol. Now, I'm having a hard time getting into there, so I'm going to go in with my little brush and just brush that in. And I will also use the brush later and do the all the edges. I love how that one turned out. That looks really good. So that one is, where's a marker? So this one is latte. This one is ginger. So this one is going to be caramel. Okay, let's do it. That way I can, so I think I was right when I started trying to figure out what those ones were again. There, one drop, didn't squeeze the bottle. I swear if you squeeze the bottle, you'll probably lose half of your bottle. So now I'm just going to use this pin and just sort of direct that little drop all over the whole thing. The little grooves are kind of tricky. I watched a young girl video She uses hardware pieces, nuts and bolts and washers in really unique ways to make jewelry. And wow, she got some fun looks using alcohol inks and really bright colors. That looks nice. So that was Caramel. And she'll drop like blue on one corner and yellow over on another corner and move them around a bit and get them to just barely touch. Apparently you can get a bottle of stuff called blendings. I think it's blending solution, where it will allow you to blend them. All right, so that's dry. So that's our latte. I actually want it, I want it a little darker. I'm just going to put one more drop on it. And just encourage that to go around. One little grungy looking. Okay, let's let that dry. So that's dry already as well. Gosh, I love how cool that one looks. That looks really, really fantastic. So that is Ginger. So that must be the Professor and Marianne. Get it? All right. I'm just going to touch it there and then spread it around like that. Fuel. I bet that's back when cars, your gas tank had a different key than your ignition. Because you used to be able to, some vehicles had a key on the gas tank. Okay, I didn't put enough down here. Or in there. All right, I want just a tiny little bit. Come on, let's see if you come out. I just want to get it in those grooves. Come on, get in the groove. Oh, this whole episode is just corny. All right, let's let the fuel key dry. Yep. Oh, no, you were still a little bit damp. Not bad. That looks nice. I still need to get a little bit, but I will do these sides. I did them on these keys with the paintbrush. So this one is Caramel. Now, I don't know how well this is going to take because I can feel that there's some residue on the back here from, it feels like there's masking tape or something on it, but we'll see. If I have to, I'll clean it all off and start again. But I just want it to look grungy looking, so I'm not overly worried. That's good. That looks nice. Oh, yeah, see what's happening? Uh-huh, okay. Mucky mess coming off there of the residue. It's almost as if it dissolved it. Wow, that's weird. Okay, it's always an adventure here. Hold on. Let's see if I can, oh, I can feel it on there. I guess I should get out my Goo Gone, but I don't feel like it right now. I'm just going to see if I can get most of that off and try again. Now that it can get down to the metal. All right. Let's try again. Caramel. Oh, golly, I'm glad I wrote down. I'm writing myself notes constantly now. It's a little frightening because I remember my parents going through that. And I'm only 61. Like I did, my fave is latte, but all are good. So that I'd remember. There we go. Let's see if it likes that better now. And then I'm going to leave it alone this time. So I hope my Canadian friends are having a nice weekend. It's a long weekend up here. I mentioned it in yesterday's video. We have a holiday tomorrow to celebrate Queen Victoria and her birthday. All right. Let's do the other side of you, latte. Am I still in? Yes, I am. Okay. Come on. I'm really happy with this. Even if it doesn't look exactly like brass, you know, like the real deal, I still like that it looks grungy. Does that make sense? Okay, let's let that dry. Oh, don't tell me. I feel like I just got started. Let me stand up and see what time it is. I paused for a minute. Oh, I'm going to have to move my camera. I've got 3 minutes. Okay. All right, well, then I can at least show you on one of them how I did the sides. You need a non-porous surface. So I've just got a Pringles lid. It's plastic. So a non-porous surface, I used ginger. And I put a drop over here, like that. And then this is where I used the little paintbrush and just dipped it in, and I just painted the side like that. But if you tried to do that with a Q-tip, the Q-tip will soak up the alcohol and it won't let you put it on the metal. There we go. I got some latte on my hand. I leaned into that while it was wet. You can see my mark there, but that's okay. So then you just let that dry. Just gonna clean my brush a little bit. And let's do, how much time have I got? 28 minutes. Okay, we probably have like 4 more minutes. So caramel for that one. I'm just going to put a drop there. This one, I flipped it over while it was still a little wet, so we'll do a little doctoring here. But you can just paint along that edge, and it really does hold. I tried to wash it off later on those ones after it was dry. After it was dry, and no, it's on there. Now I don't know whether it chips off yet or not, but I guess we'll see. And then in that little hole, oh, that looks so cool. I'm really, really happy. It must be okay because that young lady was making necklaces, amazing necklaces, and using alcohol ink on them very successfully. And I would think a necklace would take a beating. My necklaces take a beating. They get bashed up on things. What have I got on today? Oh, my little heart. Let's see that one. Yeah, that looks good. That looks like just a rusty old key. And that was silver, what, 5 minutes ago? I love this one. That one turned out really neat. So there we go. I've run out of time, but you got to see how I play with these. And that's exactly the same thing I did when I did this little key. I put a drop on, spread it around with the needle, let it dry, put a drop on, spread it around with the needle, let it dry. And then in order to get the sides and the bottom, I just used my tiny little paintbrush, and I literally used it like paint and painted it on. But I had to wait till those surfaces were dry, or else, I don't know why, the wet does not mix very nicely with semi-wet. It'll go okay with dry, but if it's not finished drying, it gives you a hard time. I'm sure there's a scientific reason, but I don't know. Anyhow, don't forget to click the link down below so that you can get in on the little Catherine cards, so that they can go off to new homes, get adopted and go to new homes, and maybe wing their way around the world. Now, wouldn't that be cool? I'd love that. It'd be interesting to see who the furthest person is that gets a little Catherine. So have a great rest of your day, and we will talk at some point tomorrow morning, Monday morning, when I will announce the winners. Take care, everyone. We'll talk soon. Thanks for joining me. Bye.